Okay, we made it. 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 So we are an hour and a half behind, and we made it. My sincere apologies. So for the remainder of September up until October 24th, let me see what day that is on. My apologies. I should have already had that information. We're going to be going live at 8:30 instead of 7 p.m. So tonight would be the first night, the first Monday, up until, October 24th is also a Monday. Awesome. So the municipal elections here in Toronto, Ontario is on the 24th of October. There's advance voting prior to that, but up until the 24th, that is the vote day. That's the official election day. It's October 24th, 2022. We're going to be going live at 8:30 p.m. every Monday up until then. This Monday, today, the 26th of September 2022 will be the first Monday, and that decision was made tonight. Oh my gosh. So getting out there, it's raining here in Toronto. However, if you can get into apartment buildings, you stay nice and warm and you still get your door-to-door meeting of the residents done. So that's what we did today. And a big shout out to all my volunteers that are coming on board. Really appreciate you guys. So I said, you know what, Mondays, since I already committed that every Monday was going to be Mirror Work Conversations with Lady O, and I think I have to change, I believe I have to, yes, I have to change the title. I have it as episode 9. It is episode 10, so my apology. So I'm gonna just change that right now. Today's this is episode, oh my gosh, everything is totally, listen to me, I just jumped on to stay committed, to my promise. And that's something I am definitely working on, is sticking and being consistent, not allowing anything to throw me off my commitments. Just like I made a commitment this year, I'll be doing 7 to 10,000 steps every day. That's my walking. I'll stay committed. Instead of doing it early in the morning with my walking partner, shout out to Nadine, she is away, some weddings and things that she has to get to. I'm still committed because I'm using my door-to-door meeting of the residents as my walk time. So I'm still getting my walk time in, and every day it's over 10,000 as a result of you just wanting to cover as much ground as possible. So I'm staying committed that I'm doing my walking every day, hitting my 7,000 minimum mark, and I'm going over that. And also my commitment that every Monday I'm coming on with Mirror Work Conversations with Lady O. So I am staying committed to that. The tweak, you have to pivot when life throws you. You just got to pivot. The tweak is that I would be coming live 8:30 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. every Monday until election day, up and including election day, the 24th. So the first day that we're going to go back to 7 o'clock would be the 31st of October. Okay. So what is this topic on? And I did not get a chance to put that in the heading, but it's going to be about my weekend. My weekend was amazing, and the mirror work was definitely, well, mirror work is always a part of your life. If you're intentional, always catching moments and teachable moments that always pop up to exercise your muscles in many areas that you say you want to improve on. And this weekend was no different. Every day is no different, but this weekend was exceptionally a muscle building mirror work exercise for me the entire weekend. And it's a muscle that always needs exercising. It's a very strong muscle that I have, and every time I have the opportunity to exercise it, I welcome it, because this world, you need to have a tough skin. And the mirror work is you looking within yourself and saying, okay, I'm going to take full responsibility on how I show up to situations. Things are occurring, or people's energies are coming. I can't control how their energies are coming, but I sure enough can control how I'm responding. And this is always the application to toxic environments, narcissistic relationship, or traumatic experiences. And this weekend was a mixture. It was beautiful weekend. Some of you are getting familiar with me. I'm in the health and wellness world as a result of my own personal conquering of breast cancer diagnosis, 10 years plus conquering that diagnosis, and 17 years plus conquering fibromyalgia diagnosis. So, health and wellness is a lifestyle for me. Okay, and it was always a lifestyle, but it was more. It became more intentional as a result of those. So my journey and always getting up to date with the latest discoveries, the latest research that is groundbreaking is always something I try to stay really connected with. And it's also an industry that our young people, our children, should become more knowledgeable in, and it's an industry for them to launch their entrepreneurial muscle in, and all that is part of my platform to be a trustee. So it's all intertwined. Health and wellness industry needs to see a boom in the youth, the young people, and it is a beautiful, ripe industry for entrepreneurship. So my traditional registered Chinese medicine practitioner Henry invited me. He told me about it when Henry's video is on, I believe it's episode 4, when myself and my son went to visit his practice to do our full body scans and also the indigo biofeed. You can see that entire journey and the results, and Henry goes over my results. I believe it was episode 4. And during that sit down and doing the test and then going over the results and then purchasing his protocol, and then him talking to me about lignans and the FOL and the SAGI, he also told me about the upcoming information on FOL and some other groundbreaking health and wellness powerful breakthroughs that are coming. So he told me this back in September when we went. I think it was the beginning of September. No, it would have been before September, because I normally do my checkups prior to back to school. So during that time, he told me about this event. I was like, sure, definitely want to be there. So I'm so happy that I did purchase a ticket for myself and for my son. It was a 2-day event. He came on the second day because the first day was a Friday. And I was seated at a table, again, organically with the science, the experts of the formulation of the breakthrough of, and we were just at the table, very organic. We are just there as men and women, just, enthusiastic. Did not know that table was them. And it was so organic, again, I said, how I ended up at their table. And it was, people would say, oh my gosh, you're so lucky as a result of the chain events that happened, because I arrived late, being mom, doing my mommy duties and making sure my son got to school on time and all that. So I got there on time, but it's late, right? Because it started at 9. I got there after 10 or whatever because of traffic and all that. But when I got there, they had just started, and so it was like they want to disrupt. So Henry was like, so he was outside at the doors, And so he signed me in. I got my ticket, got my wristband, and then we got in. We didn't want to disturb the room, so he was just like, okay, he's so obviously Henry knew the table that he was putting me at. I didn't, right? So it was just so funny, and I believe Henry just knows my personality by now. He's like, yeah, she's good. Like I think he felt he could put me at any table, and that's just again that I tip my hat to my father. May he rest in peace. I told you his training. I can be at the board table, and I could be just chilling on the streets with those, no matter where walk of life, and I fit right in, and we work well, right? Humans are humans, no matter where and no matter what environment. My father made me very comfortable to be around queens and royalty, that the world will call royalty, and also just to be with those that we will call ordinary folks. And to me, everybody is ordinary. We put labels on people, right? And then we esteem one human being higher than the other and give another human being more value, and that's where we went wrong. That's for another mirror work conversation. So at this table, we were having a ball. We were paying attention, obviously, but it was a ball. So shout out to Jack and Alan. It was amazing, and I met James and some other amazing leaders. And but at my table, really, really appreciate it, and we had fun. So, what does this have to do with mirror work? Also at the event was energies that, when you walk in, it's like, the discomfort of you being there under somebody else's invitation and it was not theirs, right? So when you mothers and women who are coming out of toxic environments, when you start to evolve, and I'm giving you the heads up as you do your mirror work, and I tell my clients this when we're doing the mirror work coaching, they're going to evolve and they're going to leave some people behind, and they're going to revisit some people, and they're going to find people are going to be reintroduced to you or get reconnected to your past or cross paths with you, and you are moving on. You've left their interaction, or however you've left their interaction behind, you're moving forward, and they're stuck in how they remembered you or how the situation was, and you've moved on. And some people, as they see you moving on, and especially when they see you now around energies that they are not as close, and they will say, you just pop up, and how's she, and you've heard this, many of them who believe they've quote unquote paid their dues, or if they've been in something longer and you just came, and that's because you've been doing the work, and the Most High God, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever English word that you want to put to it, because none of those are the original tongues of humanity. English isn't. Whichever name you have made your comfort and your connection and your relationship with, when you call someone, like my relationship, I have people that call me mom. That's their comfort. There's some people that call me O. There's some people call me Lady O. There's some people that call me Opa. Some people call me Favel. Some people call me Hope. All of those are my names. And some people call me Marsha. That's what, those are also my my legal names. It's what they are comfortable in, and it fits well with them. So you leave them with that name. And there's some people that they remember your name, or they remember what you were or how they met you, and it's like you need to quote unquote pay your dues, because they look at you and they're like, whoa, last time I saw you was 2-3 years ago or whatever. And it's like, yeah, and now they see you, and then they see you in the present and where you have been positioned, not by no manipulation on your end. The Most High has just now said, yes, I'm going to connect you this time around, and I'm going to place you here as a result of you have work to do. And there's some that are not going to like that. And this is your opportunity to grow your muscle of Teflon, grow your muscle of water off your back, grow your muscle of, oh well, and you move forward, right? And being able to be in that room, feel the energy, overhear conversations that they might not be aware that you heard, and still have a smile on your face, and just know that you are definitely evolving, right? How do you know that? I tell my clients, and it's a practice. The first time re-entering people's lives or meeting people, some people will trigger you because of the story, depending on how traumatic it was. And every moment, don't beat up on yourself, right? If when the moment comes after you were like, oh man, I should have, right? I'm like, nope. In that moment, you were authentic. And every time those situation comes up, I have people in my past pop up. I pass people in parking lots, driveways, hallways, as I said, convention room, ballrooms, meeting rooms. And it's like, oh my gosh. And it's like, oh my God, how are you? And it's like, and you're just like, and for me, I honestly it takes a time for me to get, and people, and my mother will tell you this about me. My father too, as I said, but he's passed, he's transitioned. And while he was here, my mother is still here, will tell you, I will forget people like a heartbeat. And it's not me being negative. As a result of how my body, my mind, my spirit has conditioned itself to just cut toxic from a young age, I have been given that, I call it a beautiful gift of when I cut, I literally, it's like I cut. And it's, I would say it's most likely the Most High was like, that is your coping mechanism of leaving that toxicity way in the past. And it's not really just out of sight, out of mind, because I could see you very shortly, and it's like I would really have to be like, well, I know this person. I know it's terrible. So it's terrible, and I'll tell you on the other side, it's terrible because the person's like, oh my God, you don't remember me? Because to them, we had history or we had whatever. And I'm like, well, if the history and if the interaction, this is how my spirit sits with it. If it was of value to edify me, then I would remember you. If I don't remember you and I have to jog my memory, meaning I have to go into, I literally have a filing cabinet in my mind. It's like I'm like, and I file, like I see the face, the person will tell me the name, and I'm like, okay, and I could see them wanting, but like, don't you remember? So then I would say to my mind, okay, bring it back. Who are they? Whatever. And sometimes it takes a while. I'll have the person keep talking, and then it hits me. Or they would say their name, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, and I would say to the person, please help me. Remember, like, and I hope the person does not take it offensive, but in that moment, they want me to remember them. And obviously my mind has said not necessary for you to continue and keep it on holding on to that. So I have to trigger and tell my memory, okay, can you bring it back for this moment? Because this person requires me to remember them. And let me tell you, it's a beautiful gift, because it's a beautiful gift. Full stop. Not because. It's a beautiful gift. When you've gone through traumatic experiences, narcissistic relationships, and toxic environments, it is a beautiful gift for you to be able to truly heal. Where you cut, you're no longer connected to the person, the memory, or anything. And you now are having to ask your mind to bring it back. And when it brings it back, you're not bringing back the emotion. It's just the person, the situation, the event. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember. And then they're looking at you like, oh, like now they're like trying to, like, you could see them trying to create this uncomfortable and you're just sitting good. You're sitting really cool, but you could see them trying to, and then they'll probe some questions and like, yeah, my face is just stone. Like my face is more matter of factly because the memory is just facts to me. It's not emotions anymore. It's just facts. The fact is, yes, we met here, we did this, yes, we had this, yes, we did this deal, or we had this business venture, we had this relationship, we had this friendship. It's just very factual. Why? The emotion that has been attached to it has been removed. They're wanting you to bring the emotion back because for many people that's where they get their power and they get their strength. And when they see that you're not remembering them with the emotion, you're just very matter-of-factly, it even digs. Then you will have those who are immature in their growth will now try to bring it back. They've seen that you've moved on, you've grown, and now they're doing all of the little motions and the little whispers and the little stuff to try to like recreate the past that's dead, buried, and moved on. And you know how it moved on? They didn't even remember you. They didn't try to find your number. They didn't try to find you. So they moved on as well. And this is why I talk about people so hypocritical, and you just look at them and you shake yourself like they're very petty. And this is how you know you've moved on. Where you see the pettiness, you might even walk into the conversation and they look at you like as if, did you hear that? And you literally okay, let me tell you what happened to me. I literally interrupted the conversation as I'm approaching from behind, hearing the conversation, interrupting them. It's now, oh my gosh, right in the middle, and it's like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And I'm free looking them in the face, and I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I heard it. And my question was, where do I go? Is that side? Like I literally, like, you know, say went over your head. It goes over my head so much that I make them believe, or they really believe, oh no, there's no way she could have heard that. Why? Because petty people, in their pettiness and in their toxicness, they expect you to respond a certain way if it was them. Okay? When you're not responding the way if it was me, but you're not them. And that is why they're always going to look at you, and then they're now spending time stirring their pot, stirring their stew. And you're just moved, you're gone. And this is how you know you've really grown. And this is when you can see the hypocrisy in people. Mirror work. When you are revisiting a person from the past that is attached to a negative experience, your mind and your emotion, if you remember them, if you're like me and you really so I'm gonna come back in that. How I know this, my mother, as I said, will tell you, I would be in relationships, I mean very deep, tight relationships, and I would give the person strikes, and when I'm done, I would literally done. I remember one time my mom called me for the person's number. This is before cell phones, right? You have your address book, or you know everything is in your mind. You remember your telephone number, your work number, your child's school number, your dentist number, your doctor's number. Everything was in your mind. That's when we used to allow our mind to keep itself sharp, right? Now our mind has gotten lazy from technology, so technology has not really done us good service. So when you talk about dementia and all that, it's not just environmental, it's as a result of lifestyle. We're no longer challenging our brain to bring back and recall numbers and sequences, right? Everything now, it's like, oh, you don't need to remember, put it on your phone, download this, whatever. Anyhow, so my mother called me, and she's like, because she called me by my middle name, and she's like, Marsha, can you give me the, she gave me and I was like, I don't know the number. She's like, what do you mean you don't know the number? And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't remember the number. And she's like, She goes, boy, you're sure your mind back. She goes, when you really forget people, how you forget the number you you trust? You cut off the person like what, 2 days ago, and you don't forget. But my mom's laughing. I remember this. I remember like yesterday, and I was like, okay, mom, just give me a minute. I'll call you back, and it's like she knew I wasn't BSing her. She fully knew that I'm done. When I'm done with a person, I'm done. Like, you are literally no more, right? Like, everything is just gone. Even if sometimes I have to call the person's name, like, what's the person's name again? We used to laugh like, God, you bad, you know. I'm like, no, what's the person's name? And it's like, oh my gosh. And I'm telling you, it's not just acquaintances. It'll be people that I had deep connections with, and when I identify that they're toxic, when I identify that they are not in the best interest of my health and wellness, I literally, when I cut. Serious detox, right? So I was like, mom, just give me a minute. And I remembered I put the phone down and I had to go through my routine of asking my memory to bring it back. And then my memory brought it back. I called her, I gave her the number, and she was laughing. And then when I hung up the phone from her, this is years ago. When I hung up the phone, like that, it was gone. So I'm like, you better write it down, because it takes up unnecessary space. And that's the thing about mirror work, where you're doing the mirror work to cleanse and to clean yourself, so your mind, your energy, your being is not being occupied by things that are not benefiting you. They're not taking up space. They're not taking up inventory. They're not occupying areas of your life that it's of no use, it's of no value, it's of no good, right? So anyhow, so back to the point of the weekend. So when you are in that situation, this is when you know you're evolving. How do you get that? How do you come to a place where you can really, and the cut isn't, oh, I'm mad at the person. No, you really just when you just let go, coming back to, we talk about being grateful and being for that experience, toxic, narcissistic, or traumatic, finding a powerful statement that is positive from that experience, being grateful for the positive experience that you were able to grow with, expand, gave you a voice, made you become more in tune with yourself, got you more spiritually connected, got you more aware with yourself, made you do some research, whatever. There had to be a benefit if we dig deep. And once you find that benefit, and then you give it gratitude and you release it, you're now cutting those strings, those negative emotional ties that these situations and people will want you to hold on to. And as they're doing their best to try to dig it back up and revive it and put on the defibrillator on the past and try to bring back life and try to now bring toxic back into your environment by them, you just smile and keep on moving. Just smile and keep on moving, right? And it's just one of those things that shows you the true character of people, because they didn't remember you until they saw you. You were not even in their mind. And that's why I laughed. It's just like, you didn't even remember me up until you see me in this space. It's like, oh, or when you saw my name on something, it's like, oh, but you didn't remember me. So the feeling was mutual, and you move forward. I'm hoping that you did. And this is what you have to say to yourself. You're moving forward, and you hope that they do. And when you realize that they're not, and they're out there to want to bring back life to it, you just stay on your path. Just stay on your path. Trust me. Just remember the lesson. Don't allow it to pull you back in. You remember why you cut. You remembered the gratitude that you gave it, the lessons, and you keep on moving. Eventually, trust me, their energy will be seen by others. After a while, it'll be like, okay, why are you so negative on this? Like, just move on, let it go. right? Eventually, their trueness will pop out. Don't worry, you keep going. All right, you keep growing, you keep building, and every situation, even when it is that situation of trying to bring back your past, trying to revive a negative interaction that they see that you clearly moved on with and you're growing away from, or you're growing out of. Even in that moment, be grateful. Because why? Another opportunity for you to build muscle, for you to build grit, for you to build a Teflon skin, for you to be able to say, yeah, now I know why. It's one of those things that they actually help you to remember why. You're like, yeah, thanks, yeah, this is why we separated, or we went our separate ways, right? It's like when they show up and you see that they're still stuck in their negativity and their low vibes, and they're going around trying to revive and bring back some they confirm to you that you did make a good decision way back whenever the when was. They're just confirming to you that, yeah, you made a very good decision in splitting ways, right? Why? A person that is really evolved, a person that is in leadership, a person that puts on the appearance that they're so elevated, they don't go out their way to bring up and dig up and throw and start to whisper to people who don't know you, right? You're coming in, you're new, they just remembered you, and they remembered you from whatever, right? A true elevated person of character and integrity don't go out of the way to try to now tarnish you by whispering with others to pull others into their darkness, right? That's when you know the person's just walking. They're talking the talk, but they're not walking it. That's when you know the person's walking in BS. They're not evolved. They're not no high vibration. They're BSing. When you see them do, so you just gotta shake your head and know that you have surpassed them, and that's all right. Keep going, keep building, keep growing, and you're gonna continue to surpass them, and eventually those around them would start to make their own assessment as to which energy and which vibration is really evolving and which one is truly positive, right? So you keep moving, you keep pushing. Don't worry, don't be concerned, because I know narcissists and also toxic people like to want to tarnish you with new people because it's fear. It's their fear that, like, okay, they are so afraid because they know that who you are is contagious. Especially when you walk in a room, they see the attraction that you bring, not because you're out there waving a flag, it's just your energy. It's the fear that your energy is going to expose them, not intentionally, just because they're not that. They're going to have to come and actually match your energy and be high and actually smile and actually be authentic and actually want the best for you and they know that they're far from that. All of their pretense that they've been walking around pretending to be evolved, they know when you walk in a room, just by your mere presence of your true evolvement makes them very guilty, that they know that they're not even, that they are imposters. They are going to the imposter syndrome, and it's for real for them. They know they're putting on a show and you are the real deal. The real deal is they see that you're doing the work and they see that people are being pulled to you. So their fear is, because they're also in that lack mindset, their fear is if people are pulled to you, it's pulling away from them. It's always about lack, and their increase in life is always at the expense of taking from someone. So that is why they're fearful. Their increase Everything that they've increased always is attached to taking from. That is why they're afraid of your authentic energy. You're not taking. People are coming to you. You're not taking. They're coming. They're drawn to you, and you're not taking. Whereas with them, they could only get by taking. Right? So just know that they're operating in fear. You pray for them. You really have empathy. You have sympathy for them. You can have empathy if you were once that, meaning you're in their shoes and you know what it feels like to be afraid because you're moving in a lack mindset, or you're moving as an imposter. If you were once that and you're evolving, you can empathize because you know what it is. If you were never that, you can sympathize, like, wow, I know, I understand where you're coming from. Like, wow, you are afraid. So you can sympathize, or you can empathize, like, yeah, I was once there. I know what you're feeling. So you kind of give them empathy, sympathy, or just prayers, right? And you just, because you know that they're moving in fear and they're moving in low vibration, and they're afraid that your energy is going to expose them, right? And that's all right. It's all right. There's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is keep moving forward. So my weekend was full of building that muscle of seeing and just getting a affirmation that, yeah, you are definitely growing, you are definitely moving forward. And when the past comes back to you, it comes back to you to test you, come back to you for you to actually see where you have come from, how far you've come from. It comes back to you for you to just be grateful, gratitude, introspective, reflective. And sometimes the past comes back to say, hey, you haven't dealt with something, right? So when the past comes back to you in a person or a situation or an event, or it's like, oh my God, it's happening again, or this person, or you see someone from your past, and you're just like, whoa, oh my God, I haven't seen that person. As soon as you say that, try to remember what the last story was. And right in that moment, it's like, okay, God Most High, is it nothing or is it something? Am I looking too much into it? Or is it just like, but I don't believe in coincidences. Now, you don't have to read too much in it, like, oh my God, what does it mean? It's just like, wow, that person's from my past and I remembered. And what is it about that person and the past that you remembered you once were, and it's a way for you to just say, wow, I remember when my interaction with this person was when I was at this level, or doing this or this, and then do a reflection of where you are now, not in a boastful, prideful way, gratitude way. You're like, wow. And now I'm crossing paths with them in my present, and presently I am here. And then you could just go through and you just say, I'm grateful that I'm here at this level, mentally and spiritually, financially, or just mindfulness, right? Different way of accountability. Like when people from your past comes, it's for you to do inventory, for you to celebrate, or for you to be like, you haven't grown. That person reminds you that, oh my gosh, I'm still doing the same thing 25 years later, and it's like, yeah, I remember that person 25 years ago, 2 years ago, and I was here. And you could list where the here meant in all the categories: financially, physically, your health, your wellness, your mindset, your spirituality. And then you do a gauge. Where am I now? So I see everything as teachable, beautiful moments of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, loving me so much that it just brings up people and situations for me to do inventory, reflection, right? And also to build muscles and to refine muscles, or to reinforce the muscle, right? But either way, it's always a beautiful why, right? It's always a beautiful why. So as you're moving through and you are doing your mirror work, taking accountability, taking responsibility for many areas, things in your past will pop up that you might not remember, especially when you're doing your list of things you want to, enhance and that sometimes you don't remember situations that occurred, and then these people, these situations, these experiences will come back, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. And then you're like, oh, how was that? Is that a way for me? Is that a moment, a situation, an example that is coming back to me for me to add on my list, right? How was I in that? How did I show up in that? Is that one of the listed events that I didn't put on, that I need to put on to take accountability of how that ended, how it separated? Not meaning you have to go over and, you know, have tea with the person and oh my gosh. It's just, you don't have to go to that extent, depending on how the story was, right? And you know your story of that last meeting or that last interaction with that person, memory, whatever. It doesn't always mean you have to go and reintroduce and let's go have tea together and let's get back a friendship. No, it comes back. It oftentimes, because when the past is the past, it's for a reason, okay? It's for a reason. It comes back as a listed event that you did not list or you overlooked, you didn't remember because your mind didn't remember it, and it's for you to add to that list of how did you show up, what part of that you take accountability for, responsibility for, what did you grow from it, what did you learn from it, could you have done better, taking accountability of how it ever, and then if it's so inclined and impressed on your heart to reach out to that person, say, do you remember me? Or oh my gosh, yes. And then in that moment is where your contact, don't bring it up, say, you know what, I'm so happy I met you again, because I don't even know how we would have crossed paths again. And I remembered how the situation ended, and I take accountability for XYZ, or I take responsibility for XYZ, and it didn't end well this, like, however you feel. If you can go through it and you could see that, yeah, you want to take responsibility and accountability, then that's the opportunity for you to do it. And you'll feel, be like, oh my gosh, I am definitely growing the muscle. And you could reflect on it and you'd be like, nope, I left for a very good reason, because of toxic. It's a reminder of you, celebrating you, that yeah, you've been making amazing strides in cutting ties with toxic people and toxic environments. All right, so that's the end of that episode. It's a short, sweet one. At 8:30 every Monday, we're gonna come on. Sorry about that. I'm multitasking. I'm finishing up my dinner here. So 8:30 every Monday, Mirror Conversations Radio. I'm gonna jump on, give a reflection of the day. It could be from canvassing, door to door, meeting residents, a topic that comes up while I'm meeting residents, or something that happened in my day that I wanted to be transparent and show you or talk about what happened to me and how it showed up and how I responded. Or it could be from a coaching session with a client and I say, you know what, yeah, this is a good topic I want to bring up. That might be able to assist you in your mirror work journey. And how do you respond or react to a person or event or situation from the past that pops up in your present? How do you respond to that? How do you show up in it? And simply put, you show up authentically. You show up being present to the moment. You show up celebrating the fact that you've moved forward, you moved on. Do not allow that person's situation or circumstance to pull you back. And don't get shaded or jaded if you see the person or the situation trying to conjure back up. Right? Don't get jaded, don't get pulled back. Just acknowledge what you see, what you're aware of that's occurring, and you just keep moving forward. All right? No shame, no blame, no make wrong, and no malice. You just let that be, and you keep on going. All right? So this is Lady O saying, action, faith, and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say. Connect with me for if you're in the Scarborough Center area. I am running for trustee for the Toronto District School Board Ward 17. Love to represent you, advocate for you, bring back teachers being teachers of core subjects, empowering teachers to regain back control of the education that they say they went to teachers college to give. And next Monday, because I just remembered, oh my gosh, on my journeys I cross paths with so many stories but I just needed to share about that weekend, because I'm like, you know what, it occurred, and I know there's others that this has happened to, where the past pops up, right? And I've been meeting so many stories that is occurring that I also am going to bring in. So I might even have some bonus episodes during the week, because trust me, there's a lot. And an example is, again, how teachers are not commanding authority for their space in the classroom without being authoritative and have this authoritarian energy that we've been exposed for the past 2 years. Teachers not rinsing and repeating this toxic way of punishing everybody for the group. Instead of wanting to be the bad guy, they're punishing the whole class, so they're wanting the peers to be mad at the peers. That's not healthy, where you're going to punish the whole class, and the intention is that now the class are going to be upset with their peers as a result of you, the teacher, not wanting to be the bad guy and giving those that are the troublemakers the consequence. This idea of giving the whole classroom a consequence for the behavior of those, that needs to stop. We're setting a very strong message that is toxic and that we've been experiencing for the past 2-3 years. Like, no, we need to stop that, okay? And it starts somewhere. Somebody has to stop that madness. Those that are the disturbers, those that are disrespectful, those who are not allowing teachers to teach, they need to be the one to be consequenced. They need to be the one to be removed. If you want to tell children put their head down, and even in the motion of putting your head down, it's very negative when you put your head down, right? And I remember that old school way of putting your head down. It brings children down. It makes them depressed. It makes them feel submissive. It makes it like, hey, put your head down. Like, what? No. That energy of submission, of humiliation, of negativity, of I did something wrong, that is for those who did something wrong. If the takeaway as an adult, as an educator, is that is what you want to conjure up on students, identify that to those that it justly applies to. The whole class should not be going through those emotions. Now, those who say, but lady, those are not emotions we want to have, so then the teacher should not apply it to the whole class then. Find some other creative ways of demanding the respect without having to demand it, right? And that's maybe another tool that teachers need to get it in their toolbox. How do you command respect? How do you command your space without it being in this shame tactic of like, how do you do that? For sure, you definitely don't have the whole class be in this energy of submission in this negative way when children who are being respectful are now being commanded to participate in this energy of shame. No. So I have amazing teachers out there, and this is where we need mentorship. There's some teachers that have amazing tools and they need to share that. And that is why one of my platforms I talk about teachers doing work exchange. Some people are like, oh, they get it. I'm like, no, stop being defensive and see the bigger picture. Work exchange is beautiful. You go to other areas, other places, and see how they are educating, especially for the The nations that are ranked higher than us, they're doing something. Their students are coming out scoring very high, and there is a level of respect. There's a level of respect between the student and the teacher. So the work exchange program is something that, if looked at in a positive way, it's a beautiful thing. You exchange because we are in an interconnected world. We're all connected, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, I think we should notice. The past 2 years have shown us that. So it is in our best interest as a school board for our teachers to be internationally experienced. It only adds benefit to our classrooms. Why? Because students are migrating, they're moving around. International students are coming left, right, and center. So when they come to a Toronto District School Board classroom, the teachers there are fully aware as to the environment, the levels that they're coming from. They're well versed. Our Toronto District School Board teachers are well versed. They're travelers of education. So we're gonna have a podcast on that, because like our teachers need to have some more effective and creative tools in the toolbox in commanding respect, not at the expense of shaming and making any student feel low when those students are doing the right thing. They should not be punished for those that are wanting to be disrespectful. And our teachers need to get some other tools in the toolbox, because they're doing a lot of harm. They're doing harm even in their frustration. I get it. And we need to get some tools in our toolbox in how we command respect. And we have the parents and the guardians on board. This is our level of operation. This is what the classroom environment is. This is how my classroom environment is conducted. So please speak to your son and your daughter, your grandson, your granddaughter, your niece, your nephew, whoever the guardian is. This classroom, this is how we conduct. We have to bring back respect and dignity into the classroom, from teacher to student and from student to teacher. That will also assist in the information that is being dispensed to them and dispersed to them, for them to retain it when we have an environment of respect. Disrespect creates distractions. I'm going to say that again. Disrespect creates distraction. That is why children aren't retaining what's being taught, because there's too much disrespect flying around the rooms. When we have an environment of respect, the retention, what children are able to register, it's much more effective, because they're getting it, because there's not the distractions of disrespect isn't flying around the classroom. Teachers can actually be more effective with their half an hour, 45-minute lesson plan when there is an energy and environment of respect. The lesson plan, the concept is lives the focus, and it's accepted and it's retained better. All right, so we'll talk about that. Alrighty, so I'm out. Thank you. This is episode 10. Thank you for hanging in there. And again, my apologies. And we are going to be going live every Monday at 8:30 instead. All right, I think I've already done my sign off, but just in case I didn't, this is Lady O. Stay in action, faith, and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Well, your night. Bye-bye.